Welcome back to the Simple Skating series. Today, we once again have a look at some skating games on Steam. If you thought that was a one video affair, well, you're mistaken. Steam has quite the fair amount of skating games available. And today, I'm looking at a few more varied skating games rather than looking at just skateboarding games like I did last time. I have two rollerblading games, a scooter game, and two strange skating games to feature today. So let's dive right in. First up, we're rolling into it with On a Roll. Yes, I know my puns are atrocious. On a Roll rolled out. No, stop it. Into Steam's early access in 2017, which it has remained on since. So, this is a rollerblading video game in which it kinda surprised me. And not in a good way. Question for you. What kind of state would you think the game would be in after having 3 years of development? Well, I guarantee you'd not expect this. Now, I'm not having a go at the developers of this game, but when the controls are this janky, there are quite literally glitches everywhere. Obviously, it's in early access, so you kind of expect that, but even more so here than I probably would expect. And barely any tricks you can pull off after 3 years of development. I think you'd be surprised too. Anyway, from the beginning, you start with a character creator, which is very basic at best. Once through that, you pick a level and go. So how does it feel to play? As I previously said, very janky. Momentum is fairly difficult to maintain and jumping is fine, but once in the air there isn't many tricks you can pull off. And then there is the grinding, which is by far the most jankiest thing in this game. The grinding kinda does whatever it wants, and the animation of going into a grind is extremely janky. It's hard to maintain a grind as your character will just come off for no reason whatsoever. There's no balance meter or anything to tell you how you're doing. So it's not like skates where you can quite easily tell how your grinds are doing. So yeah, the controls could do with a bit of work. Now, the first level is very unfinished. You have a little skate park area you start in and also some other small areas, but most of the level is unfinished. And the game tells you this, but that wouldn't stop me from exploring, which was interesting, you could say. Now, the glitches. You would think I would say, but of course, there's glitches. It's early access, bio. But it's still something that should be mentioned. Because even in, like, if I go into the area, which is unfinished, there's loads of glitches, understandably. But there's even quite a lot of glitches, and I think like half of it's because of the janky controls that the glitches happen. Like fix the controls, and I think half the glitches won't happen. I'm just saying. Overall, this game has potential. But if this is how far they've come in 3 years, I can't see this game being finished, if at all, until the year 2030 or even later. And that's a joke, but still. At this moment in time, I can't really recommend this game based on the price that is listed on Steam. Even under a sale, I think it'd probably be a little too much. You know, it's not like Skater XL or anything. Now, let's talk about another rollerblading game, which plays much better than this, and is also in early access, but was released onto Steam last year. Whew! Last year. Oh, that must burn a little bit. Neon Tail. Developed by only 3 people, as made to look and feel like Jet Set Radio, I think we can call this an all-time win. Okay, there is a lot more to it than that. Neon Tail is an anime-styled rollerblading game where you blade around a city performing tricks as you complete various missions. The game also has a killer soundtrack. Now, of course, I have to compare this to On a Roll, as both of them are rollerblading video games. So how are the controls? Pretty decent, actually. You control fairly well as you perform tricks in the air, and you're able to grind pretty well too. There is no janky controls here, just pretty fluid controls. I repeat, there is no janky controls. There is plenty of rails around the city you can grind, and the grind feels a lot like the grinding in Sunset Overdrive if you've ever played that game. It's really easy to build up momentum, and you slow down in a way that makes sense. You do a little spin, and you slow down to a standstill. It's yeah, I can see that happening. I can see that being actually how you'd probably stop. I couldn't actually remember finding any glitches either. Obviously, don't quote me there. I, can't remember every little thing, but if there was glitches, it wasn't so noticeable that I even remembered what it was. Like, for example, if you hit a car, you go down. You don't just clip through the car, and yeah, okay, you do clip through the car, kind of, but the car knocks you down still, so and I imagine they'll still improve on that. People actually react to you hitting them, unlike with On a Roll, where the people just don't even exist. You might as well just clip through them, except for some people, which just fall through the floor, The game feels a lot like Skate Park City in all fairness, which is welcome, because I really enjoyed that game. The only thing I could honestly hold against the game is after you get through the tutorial, you get thrown into this dream sequence that really feels out of place. But once you're into the city, once it's over, you're into the city. So yeah, it's only a thing. I think it's probably to do with the story, but I didn't get that much into the story of the game. It looks like there is cosmetic items available in the game because I came across these shops where you could purchase customizable items, which I don't know how to get the currency. I'm not really too sure. But it looks like it's something that you can do. But anyway, I really enjoyed this game, and I can't wait to see what it brings in the future, if I'm honest. Next up, we Scoot. Crayola Scoot is the kind of game you'd never expect to be made into a game, because its existence is kind of an enigma. Like, does a scooter skating game featuring Crayola that kind of plays like Splatoon sound good to you? Possibly. But who could honestly come up with such a crazy idea? But that is exactly what you are getting. A scooter skating game where you spread liquid crayon, at least that's what I think it is. What else could it be, considering it's Crayola, over a skate park? This spraying paint all over the place is a familiar concept, as I mentioned just now with Splatoon, but not for the reasons you'd think. Now get Splatoon out of your head and think of another skating game that featured splashing paint all over the place and had a free week beta, I think, and didn't get enough players and was ultimately cancelled. That game was Deck Splash, and it makes me think that maybe this game's beta was bought and it was turned into Crayola Scoot. I know, it's a crazy theory, but I think it's quite plausible. And I don't think there's any supporting evidence there, but it's just the similarities are too similar. Okay, with that out of the way, let's talk about the game itself. Okay, you've got a little bit of customization. The controls are a little bit stiff, but I'll take that over janky with plenty of different tricks you can pull off any day of the week. Obviously, there is the whole paint thing, which is used for boost mostly, but as you do tricks, you spread the paint, and when you drive through the paint that you've spread about, you build your boost back up. Yeah. There is also other modes you can play, similar to the games you could play with your friend back on the old Tony Hawk series, like there is a version of Horse, but renamed something else. And the soundtrack, unfortunately, is fairly bland, but I do like the art style of the game. All in all, it's an okay game. It's not pushing any boundaries, and it's surprising to see a scooter game in this day and age, but it succeeds in what it sets out to do, I think, at least. I don't think the scope was as big as, most people would probably think it would be. But now, we get to a bit...
Aesthetic. To achieve the most aesthetic, we must drink soda. We must break physical and mental limitations. We must unite under one board to break through to the other side. Hey, Grit Tape Backbone here. Skateboarding never felt so 90s until you've experienced this. Aesthetic. Shapes are only limited by dimensional boundaries set up by Neanderthals. Roses are red, violets are blue. Just so you know, I need a giant...
Hello? Have I gained back control? Sorry about that. Grip Tank Backbone is a game where you skate around a sandbox world full of strange architecture, collecting soda until you reach 1000 aesthetic. It's a strange experience, but it's pretty cool and the music is killer. I would recommend trying it out as it's free on Steam. Now we move on to the last, definitely the worst game in this video, Longboard Stunts and Tricks. Once again, what could be considered a mobile game ends up on Steam and is complete dog shit. Look at this game. Just look at it. Okay, I'll be brief, as there really isn't much to talk about. The game looks like trash, controls like trash, and the levels are trash. Yeah. Controls are pretty basic, and they control fine for what they want to achieve, I think, but that doesn't mean they're good by any means, stretch of the form. I don't know about stunts and tricks, as all I was doing the whole time was time trials and races. There isn't even a jump button as far as I know, so no clue there in terms of the stunts and tricks. Time trials require you to get to the end of the level in an allotted time, and races are, well, races. You can hit people with a weapon while racing, but that is pretty pointless. You'd be better off ignoring the other races, as once you get past them, they aren't able to catch up. There is a level up system that looks really pointless, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. You know, the game is just all round terrible, to be honest with you. Yeah. So there we go. 5 games that were not the atypical skateboarding games, but I did have some fun playing these, and I would say that my favorite of this collection was Neon Tail, as I do believe that game has so much potential for the future. Now, don't think we are done yet, as there are still more skating games on Steam to look at, but not until next time. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.